Hello, Vectasus here. I'm going to make a game, and without any ado, I'm going to start creating a folder. I can rename it later. This is really awkward for me because I never make videos. But to start out, I'll start with the HTML page. I'll call it index.html, so that when somebody opens this folder, when it's on a web server, this is the first file that is going to open. We're going to structure a basic HTML file. So this HTML, and you can do this in Notepad if you're on Windows. Nothing necessary, though syntax highlighting is pleasing to work with. Head. We're going to need a head. And inside the HTML body. This is your basic structure of an HTML file. I'm not to assume you are familiar with it. So within these brackets we have a tag, and within a tag and a closing tag, and a slash in front of it, we put something else. So we have a HTML element, and within that element there are a head element which has nothing in it, and a body element which has also nothing in it. In order to create a game, you're going to draw it on an element called canvas. And I'm going to give that an ID. This is how you specify parameters, they are called. And within this ID I'll type a name, game. And now when I add JavaScript, which is the scripting language, or I guess these days it can be considered a programming language. When I use JavaScript, I will use the ID game to refer to this element. We're going to add this JavaScript below the body, so I know it will be read from the top down and will only run the script when it has seen the canvas, so I can access the canvas from within the script. I am telling you what I am doing here, but I will not make a tutorial for you. I'm just explaining it so you can follow me if you don't understand what I am doing here. You know, this is the game that I will be developing, and you're not supposed to develop it besides me. Well, you probably could. I have no issue with that. Though I will probably release the source at some point, so you can just get it from there. You don't have to type with me. The whole purpose of this is that I will explain to you how things are made, not necessarily how to make them directly, so that when you start to make a game of your own, you don't have to copy me. You can just take the ideas, the raw ideas that I will use in my project, and use them in your own. and this is not a programming tutorial, so I expect you will follow one first before you try to copy my ideas. But in case you don't care, you will still be able to follow along, because I will explain most of the things to you. The script element has a source, and that is where we'll get the script file from. I could also type it in here without a source, but I find it neater to store files in a to store scripts in an external file. Now we'll make a folder, JS. Remember, this is relative, so here in the background you see index.html, that is where we are, and relative to that I'm going to create a folder called JS, and in that I will create a file called main.js, and it could be anything I would like, but I like to start with main because of C++ origins. I'm going to create a file folder now, JS, and in this folder I will create a new file, and you can do this with Notepad. You can rename Notepad files to anything you want, and I will call it main.js, and in this you can type JavaScript. I open files with gedit, this is my version of Notepad, and it recognizes that this is a JavaScript file because of the extension, and it can highlight things like var. You'll see it turns red. It can recognize what I type, but that is not necessary, and you can just type JavaScript in Notepad if you wished, or an external program. I've already discovered an error. I'm supposed to close canvas like that. As you can see, I have two files, index and main is in JS, main.js. Index is in the root of my game, so that's the main folder all of game files will be in. And main.js, whatever I type in here, is going to be run inside index because it's imported in this line here. So when I type something like alert, which gives a little pop-up window in my browser, test 1 2 3, I am supposed to get that when I run index. So that's our first test. Save both files. Open in Iceweasel, which is Firefox, and we get a little pop-up that says what I just typed, which means that it is working.